Know how to elevate through scale and process. Okay. Elevate your company to scale through process. Okay. This is process mapping. Okay. Process mapping does these things for you. It identifies bottlenecks and broken process. I bet you everybody on this call right now, to include myself, have a broken process somewhere. We all do. Everybody does. To say otherwise, I will call you a liar twice today and 8 times on Sunday. Everybody has broken process, okay, somewhere. That doesn't mean, okay, we know it and just ignore it. We work to fix these, create a process map, okay, lay out your entire process. This one particular process through sales, Where's the bottleneck? It's the biggest place is in the sales pipeline. That's usually where the biggest bottlenecks are. That could be a sales team member that doesn't understand the process very well. They're screwing it up, whatever. Could be a million different things. Okay, payment processing, whatever. Okay, so map these things out, draw them out. Again, doesn't matter. Don't care if it's with a crayon and on the back of a comic book. Makes no difference. Map it out and identify through that process with your team and listen to what they're telling you. Hey, we're having this issue. We'll get to that. That's not important. Okay. But what is that bottleneck creating? I'll tell you what it's creating. It's creating lost revenue. That's what it's creating. I found a bottleneck a year ago that was costing, it would have, if I had let it gone on, would have cost me over $2 million that year of a bottleneck. See why that's important? Or I could have just said, whatever, and just lost that money. Would have I known it? Deep down inside, I would have known it because I know my business well enough. Okay. So it's a sales process. Question was asked, what was it? Okay. Sales process. I had a guy who the entire team was doing about 40% conversion, and one guy was doing about 10%. My fault for not paying attention. Okay, my fault. Guy was getting just as much sales base as the rest of the team and costing me tons of money. Poor attitude, treated my clients horribly, so on and so forth. Huge bottleneck. Got rid of him and fixed the problem. But I mapped this out, talked to my team, got through the process with it on one of my quarterly updates. Okay. And figured out what was going on, right? Why was the performance so good here and not here? It's not that hard to track. Goes back to the last conversation we had of know thy numbers, right? Okay, design future maps. Okay, what changes at scale? A bunch of stuff changes at scale. Lots of things change at scale. Okay, spend, product amount, infrastructure changes. Your infrastructure can't look the same as a $100,000 company as a $10 million company. You are not going to run a $10 million company by yourself. That's not happening. You can run a $100,000 business by yourself. It's still ridiculous to do that with zero support. You're probably working, 80 hours a week to do that, where you could take much of that load off very cheap. Okay, just by simply employing a couple VAs. But what changes at scale? A lot of those things are going to change at scale. You're working with bigger numbers. I'll tell you right now, there is absolutely no difference, monetarily speaking, between a company that is making $50,000 or 200 million. They're just working with bigger numbers. That's it. No difference whatsoever. Infrastructure, all that stuff, yes, more robust, so on and so forth. But trend, all that stuff, ups and downs in business, all that thing, all the same headaches. Okay. The headaches don't necessarily grow with scale, depending on your product. If you're fulfilling a service, well, you're adding clients. So if you're targeting the right client, then you have less headache. Because we all know that we're the lowest paying client is usually our largest headache. This goes without saying. Okay. It's in every industry, across every industry. Okay. Because they all expect something for nothing. Okay. I've worked with those clients. I don't work with those clients anymore. I don't do it anymore. So, but all of that changes at scale. Identify these gaps, just like this gap I was talking about here. And you may have 20 gaps that you identify. Prioritize the gaps. You know, put the right face in charge of that task, which oftentimes is the worst job in the company, and that's the COO to do that stuff, right? Because they're the ones that just the CEO just pukes everything on them and says, fix this. That's just how it works, right? It's the hardest job in any company is the COO position. But those have to be prioritized. We start with the highest profit generating activity. Okay. Because if it's, say it's you run a brick and mortar and the bathroom sink isn't working right. Okay. Sure. I mean, is that a bottleneck? Yeah, people are going to complain. But if the fryer's broke, that affects the bottom line because now you can't sell a product. Okay. So terrible analogy, but it's just what came to mind at the moment. Still, it's still prioritize the task. Okay. All right. Team execution. Okay. Your team has to execute to support that mission and vision and support process development, which in turn supports scale. Okay. Say that again. Team execution. Okay. They support the mission and vision. Okay. To identify, things in their own role that are an issue. We fix those problems to scale the company. Otherwise, you're here. Broken process and bottlenecks. Okay. There again, process, roles, workflows, ownership, huge key, ownership. Make people accountable and have ownership in their duties and responsibilities. Okay, make them document their position. It's important. We used to call them leader books. That's what we used to create your own leader book. Why? It's an empowering term. It empowers somebody to, look at that and go, wow, I'm going to create my own leader book. Awesome. It's powerful, impactful. Very, very powerful thing. Okay, so all of these systematic things, automation, workflows, moving things from one place to another, not on sticky notes, through automation. Some people use systems like Trello, which I like because that's kind of like a big sticky note. I like that system. A lot of people use it. I use it. I think Terry uses it. Great program. It just reminds me of a sticky note because I'm moving a sticky note from one place to another, to another, to another, to another. So I would absolutely encourage all of you, if you don't have some kind of management system, to definitely look at Trello. It's really good. A lot of people are using it today. Another big thing, communicate process clearly from your seat, okay? Again, mission and vision. All your process supports your mission and vision of your company. You can't scale, you can't grow, you can't sell if you don't understand your own mission and your own vision in your own company. Okay, very important. Okay, and then obviously this whole process, all 6 modules that we have talked about since we started, it is all about continuous improvement all the time. Okay, we don't ever stop improving our company, ever. There's no end to it. Okay, but it's all dependent on what ceiling you're looking from. Because you can be looking from a ceiling of right here in it every day, spending 80 hours a week, or you can be looking from it from a 30,000 foot platform where you start to see all the holes in the bucket and where you're bleeding revenue. Two very, very different seats. And the way you get up to the top to more of the visionary role is creating all these processes and procedures.